Hello cubs, and welcome back to my cozy den. We're here once again at the Blue Palace in Solitude Skyrim for another book reading. So grab yourself a tankard of mead and pull up a bench. I hope you enjoy this series, and if you have any suggestions or requests for what to read next, then let me know in the comments below. And now to continue our run of The Wolf Queen, book number 5. From the pen of Inzalicus, 2nd century sage and student of Montakai. 3rd era, 119. For 21 years, the Emperor Antiochus Septim ruled Tamriel, and proved an able leader despite his moral laxity. His greatest victory was in the War of the Isle in the year 110, when the Imperial fleet and the royal navies of Somerset Isle, together with the magical powers of the Sigic Order, succeeded in destroying the Pyandanian invading armada. His siblings, King Magnus of Lilma, King Sepphoris of Ghilain, and Potima, the Wolf Queen of Solitude, ruled well, and relations between the Empire and the kingdoms of Tamriel were much improved. Still, centuries of neglect had not repaired all the scars that existed between the Empire and the kings of High Rock and Skyrim. During a rare visitation from his sister and nephew Uriel, Antiochus, who had suffered from several illnesses over his reign, lapsed into a coma. For months, he lingered in between life and death, while the Elder Council prepared for the ascension of his 15-year-old daughter, Kintira, to the throne. 3rd era, 120. Mother, I can't marry Kintira, said Uriel, more amused by the suggestion than offended. She's my first cousin. And besides, I believe she's engaged to one of the Lords of Council, Madellas. You're so squeamish. There's a time and a place for propriety, said Potima. But you're correct at any rate about Madellas. And we shouldn't offend the Elder Council at this critical juncture. How do you feel about Princess Rachma? You spent a good deal of time in her company in Farron. She's all right, said Uriel. Don't tell me you want to hear all the dirty details. Please spare me your study of her anatomy, Potima grimaced. But would you marry her? I suppose so. Very good. I'll make the arrangements then. Potima made a note for herself before continuing. King Laromo has been a difficult ally to keep, and a political marriage should keep Farron on our side, should we need them. When is the funeral? What funeral? Asked Uriel. You mean for Uncle Antiochus? Of course, sighed Potima. Anyone else of note die recently? There were were a bunch of little Redguard children running through the halls, so I guess Sepphoris has arrived. Magnus arrived at court yesterday, so it ought to be any day now. It's time to address the council then, said Fatima, smiling. She dressed in black, not her usual colourful ensembles. It was important to look the part of the grieving sister. Regarding herself in the mirror, she felt that she looked all of her 53 years. A shock of silver wound its way through her auburn hair. The long, cold, dry winters in northern Skyrim had created a map of wrinkles, thin as a spider's web, all across her face. Still, she knew that when she smiled, she could win hearts, and when she frowned, she could inspire fear. It was enough for her purposes. Fatima's speech to the Elder Council is perhaps helpful to students of public speaking. She began with flattery and self-abasement. My most august and wise friends, members of the Elder Council, I am but a provincial queen, and I can only assume to bring to issue what you yourselves must have already pondered. She continued on to praise the late emperor, who had been a popular ruler despite his flaws. He was a true septim and a great warrior, destroying, with your counsel, the near-invincible armada of Pyandania. But little time was wasted before she came to her point. The Empress, Gisela, unfortunately did nothing to temper my brother's lustful spirits. In point of fact, no whore in the slums of the city spread out on more beds than she. Had she attended to her duties in the imperial bedchamber more faithfully, we would have a true heir to the empire, not the half-wit milksop bastards who call themselves the emperor's children. The girl called Kintira is popularly believed to be the daughter of Gisela and the captain of the guard. It may be that she is the daughter of Gisela and the boy who cleans the cistern. We can never know for certain. Not as certainly as we can know the lineage of my son, Uriel, the eldest true son of the Septim dynasty. My lords, the princes of the empire will not stand for a bastard on the throne. That I can assure you. She ended mildly, but with a call to action. Posterity will judge you. You know what must be done. That evening, Fatima entertained her brothers and their wives in the map room, her favorite of the imperial dining chambers. The walls were splashed with bright, if fading, representations of the empire and all of the known lands beyond: Atmora, Yakuda, Akavir, Pyandania, and Thras. Overhead, the great glass-domed ceiling, wet with rain, displayed distorted images of the stars overhead. Lightning flashed every other minute, casting strange phantom shadows on the walls. "When will you speak to the council?" asked Fatima as dinner was served. "I don't know if I will," said Magnus. "I don't believe I have anything to say." "I'll speak to them when they announce the coronation of Kintira," said Sepphoris. "Merely as a formality to show my support and the support of Hammerfell." "You can speak for all of Hammerfell?" asked Fatima with a teasing smile. "The Red Guards must love you very much." "We have a unique relationship with the Empire in Hammerfell," said Sephoris's wife, Bianchi. "Since the Treaty of Stros Mackay, it's been understood that we are part of the Empire, but not a subject." "I understand you've already spoken to the council," said Magnus's wife, Helena, pointedly. She was a diplomat by nature, but as the Cyrodiilic ruler of an Argonian kingdom, she knew how to recognize and confront adversity. "Yes, I have," said Fatima, pausing to savor a slice of braised joufbird. "I gave them a short speech about the coronation this afternoon." "Our sister is an excellent public speaker," said Sepphoris. "You're too kind," said Fatima, laughing. "I do many things better than speaking." "Such as?" asked Bianchi, smiling. "Might I ask what you said in your speech?" asked Magnus suspiciously. There was a knock on the chamber door. The head steward whispered something to Fatima, who smiled in response and rose from the table. "I told the council that I would give my full support to the coronation, provided they proceed with wisdom." "What could be sinister about that?" Fatima said, and took her glass of wine with her to the door. "If you will pardon me, my niece Kintira wishes to have a word with me." Kintira stood in the hall with her imperial guard. She was but a child, but on reflection, Fatima realized that at her age, she was already married 2 years to Mantiarco. There was a similarity, to be certain. Fatima could see Kintira as the young queen, with dark eyes and pallid skin smooth and resolute like marble. Anger flashed momentarily in Kintira's eyes on seeing her aunt, but emotion left her, replaced with calm imperial presence. "Queen Fatima," she said serenely, "I have been informed that my coronation will take place in 2 days' time. Your presence at the ceremony will not be welcome. I have already given orders to your servants to have your belongings packed, and an escort will be accompanying you back to your kingdom tonight. That is all. Goodbye, aunt." Fatima began to reply, but Kintira and her guards turned and moved back down the corridor. The Wolf Queen watched them go and then re-entered the map room. "Sister-in-law," said Fatima, addressing Bianchi with deep malevolence. You asked what I do better than speaking. The answer is war. And there you have it, Cubs, finishing this one on a cliffhanger. Until next time, stay cozy.